What is the most embarrassing situation you've been in?
Experience 1. My story. When I was 13, a doctor wrote me an adult dose for a certain medicine based on my weight. I was a fat kid. Our body does not work that way, and the medicine ended up constipating me for a month. I did not poop for a whole month. I got sick. I had raccoon-like eyes, my stomach would jump or flutter by itself, I had cramps, etc. It was bad. I was miserable. I finally told my parents how long it had been since I had poop, and they freaked out and took me to the hospital. There, they gave 3 enemas back to back. After the third and final one, all that water softened all that crap up just enough I could expel it. I ran to the nearest bathroom, gown open in the back, and tried to make it to the toilet. I didn't. My ass was hovering at a 45-degree angle above the toilet when the geyser burst. This next part is not a lie, but I know some of you will think it is. I got crap everywhere. On the ceiling, somehow, on the floor, the toilet was covered, the walls, and even the sink got hit with some spray. Crap was literally, yes literally, sprayed on all walls and ceiling. It was everywhere. I felt like a new kid after that. Cleaned myself up the best I could and then had to figure out what to do. There was no way I could clean it all up, I needed a janitor. So I walked out and politely told a nurse the bathroom needed a cleanup and badly. A janitor was only a few rooms down for some reason, so I saw him go by to clean it, but he did not know who I was. He got to the bathroom and the whole ER heard.
Oh hell no, I ain't cleaning this up. I quit.
And he did. I felt so bad, still do. I made some poor janitor quit his job over a poop-caked bathroom. Experience 2. In Korea, the toilets in more rural areas rarely have toilet paper. I was 14 visiting family for the summer and had to drop a huge deuce. It came out like gravy, and it was then I realized I had no toilet paper or paper towels in the bathroom. Unlike American toilets, most in Korea are the squatters, like this, so I couldn't use the toilet water to wipe my ass with my hands. There were a ton of people in the bathroom, and for some retarded reason I decided to use the umbrella I had because it was raining, and I figured the rain would wash it away when I got outside. When I went outside, my aunt grabbed the umbrella, which was the only one we had, and yelled at me for taking so long and opened it up. Small pieces of my feces flew on my entire family like we were gingerly coated with brown pepper. Needless to say, I have never returned to Korea. Experience 3. I'm not going to spend too much time with the details since this will likely just get buried at this stage of the post. My most embarrassing moment happened while I was working at a camp for the summer. I was a camp runner, meaning that I was the guy who drove into town for whatever reason. At night I'd sleep in a room with about 10 other guys, and the bathrooms were big and always busy, so I was completely abstinent for nearly the entire summer. So, one day I got a call that I had to pick up a camper girl who had been bitten by a spider and take her to urgent care. It was policy that if I was driving a camper of the opposite gender somewhere, there had to be another adult, 18 plus, of the opposite gender riding with us. The other adult that came with us was this cute girl that I had had a few conversations with prior. I was somewhat sleep deprived at the time, and she knew this, so as she had her camp driving clearance and knew the way to the urgent care, she offered to drive, and I accepted. The camp was in the middle of nowhere, so the ride to the urgent care was pretty long. At that time, I fell asleep. I woke up with my dick hard as a rock and the head of it poking out of the leg of my shorts. Before I was able to get my bearings, I felt a surge of pressure and proceeded to ejaculate onto the glove compartment door. Immediately I heard both a shriek and a girl yell, "Oh God! Holy hell no!" I turned and looked at both girls. Both of them had obviously seen what happened and both of their faces were like beet red. The car was absolutely silent for the next 10 minutes apart from the sounds of me attempting to wipe up my semen with an old McDonald's bag. Finally, we reached the urgent care, and I dropped them off. After talking with the girl who drove the next day, I had apparently been hard for like 10 minutes. Both of them were fully aware of it, but both were too embarrassed to wake me up. That was the worst. Experience 4. I was 15 and I was at Sam's Club with my parents. I was in the video game section playing some demo on a PS2. I felt like I needed to fart, so I pushed a little. It felt like I had let a silent one out, because I didn't hear it, and it smelled terrible about 2 seconds afterwards, per usual. About 30 seconds later, the smell was still lingering, and I was just proud that I had caused that much damage to the air. My sister, 7, comes up to me and asks where I got the chocolate milk, and how I spilled it on my leg. I look down, there are liquid feces on my right leg, was wearing blue Nike shorts and boxers. I'm terrified. I have poo on my leg. I casually walk to the bathroom. Here comes the embarrassing part. I'm in the stall, cleaning up my leg, trying to figure out what the hell to do with my boxers, which are covered in poo water. I can't keep them, the car will smell on the ride home. I can't leave them in the stall, people were waiting. I had to flush them. Well, apparently boxers don't flush well. The toilet backed up, flooding the entire stall and spreading to the rest of the bathroom. I'm freaking out, but I'm clean, I got most of the poo off my leg. A janitor has entered the restroom, and I exit the offending stall. He asks what happened, and I can't speak. I should have because the boxers were still in the toilet, clearly visible. I just casually walk out. Meanwhile, my parents were ready to leave and couldn't find me. They aren't super hover parents, but they got worried, because I wasn't in the video game section or the candy section. This ordeal was going on 10-ish minutes long. Apparently, my sister told them that I walked towards the bathroom with an older man. So, my parents are assuming the worst and get the security and management involved. Back to the bathroom. I'm trying to walk out. The janitor finds the boxers and is all huffy-puffy. The manager is walking down the hallway towards the bathroom to try and handle the missing child with old man situation. I'm trying to leave the bathroom to handle the holy crap, I just pooed my pants and clogged the toilet with my boxers situation. The manager stopped me and asked me if I was in any type of situation, and I didn't know how to answer. I tell him there was an incident in the restroom. He takes that as something that happened to me with the old man I was apparently stolen by. He radios the security to contact the police and to have them head towards the restrooms. I freak out, I didn't think flushing my underwear warranted the police getting involved. My parents get to me, ask if I'm okay. I'm too embarrassed to tell them what happened, still without knowing what their perception of the matter was. I said,
I'm fine.
Security is rushing over, asking me if
He's still in there.
I have no idea what they are talking about. They ask me what happened. There is a gathering of rubberneckers trying to see what is going on. I'm really confused as to why this is a huge deal. I confess. I tell them that I mud-butted down my leg and tried to flush my underwear down the toilet, clogging it in the process. The looks I got. The worst part was that the police were there in like 5 minutes, and I had to tell them exactly what happened to me. After the seriousness of the situation wore off and everyone realized I wasn't assaulted by an old man, many laughs were had at my expense. My father to this day still brings this up family gatherings, at my wedding, holidays. Experience 5. Was sleeping over at a girlfriend's house. In the middle of the night I needed to take a leak. So, I got up and went about my business and went back to bed. In the morning, I wake up next to a slender Burmese man. I was extremely confused, and I looked out the doorway and saw her standing there signaling me out. Experience 6. May not be yours, certainly the most embarrassing moment of mine and my wife's. Got my wife an early birthday gift, a smartphone, the first ever for her. She'd been using some old indestructible Nokia forever. I wanted to bring her into the 21st century. Data, social networking, GPS, etc. Her actual birthday rolled around, and even though I got her the phone, I had nothing for the actual day. After the morning out-of-bed ritual of showering and teeth brushing, I decide to sexy myself up. Oil all over me, tie, and some shirt cuffs. I am nude save B-listed attire, was going for Chippendales dancer, call her back, she is rolling in this and just loves it. Takes a picture with her new phone. The plot thickens, we go fishing, catch a few, head home, fillet and cook the fish. It truly looks like a gourmet meal. The wife takes a picture of the fish with the phone. It's late now, day is over, wife is off to bed, so I decided to stay up and play some video games on the PC. Before she went to bed, she uploaded pictures to Facebook, fishing, and meals, etc. The first image she uploads is my nude shot, thinking it was the prepared fish fillets, now titled Dinner Yum. My wife couldn't figure out how to delete this accidental post on the new phone. She screams, running through the whole house to the computer room where I am. Kicks me off forcefully, and what I see is to my amazement. Me nude on Facebook, and I already have 2 comments. Post deleted. Mission success, wrong. Post was deleted, not the mobile upload photo to albums. Needless to say, 13-odd hours later, finding more comments of praise and family disgust, I realize what has actually happened. Experience 7. When I was in the Navy, I was standing watch in the engine room one day. Or night, I don't remember. I was on a submarine, so you lose track of those kinds of things. Anyway, it was during a workup for a reactor safety exam, so all of the engineering depths were tired from running drills during their off hours when they would normally be sleeping. About halfway through my 6-hour watch, I had to poop, but I didn't want to wake someone up to stand my watch while I pooped. So, I held it in like a boss, for 3 hours, until my relief came. By the time I was screaming down the P-way to the watertight hatch, I had to go so bad I was almost puking. But the watertight hatch that separates the engine room from the forward compartment is about 2 feet off the ground, too high for me to just bend my legs at the knees and scoot through. My anal clench is the only thing holding back this fecal maelstrom. So, I undog the hatch, it's a big mechanism, takes a few seconds to open, and lift one leg to get it through, and my colon unloads with a fury unmatched. Tube 1 has been launched, and the charge is currently running out of my boxers, out through the leg of my coveralls, onto the deck, and rolling a few inches to the horrified gaze of the rest of my watch team standing behind me. Through the strange mixture of embarrassment, shame, and nausea from having to poop so badly, I can't manage to say anything except oopsies. Luckily, I'm an engineer, so I have a rag in my back pocket, so I go to scoop it up, bending over straight-legged and cheeks hugging like high school sweethearts. I walk through the hatch with poop in hand and head forward. The first room you hit when you head forward is the mess, where most of the crew who is awake and not on watch hangs out, watch movies, play games, etc. Right now, it's full of off-going watchstanders having whatever meal is being served. I go to toss the rag in the trash, and one of my buddies who watched this whole thing unfold is standing in the middle of the mess deck and shouts, "Hey Mikey, WTF are you doing? You can't throw poop in the trash." Which is actually true. We compact all of our trash and jettison it. Anything that has liquid in it cannot be compacted, or it will lose out the side of the compactor and possibly squirt the poor kid that has to operate the machine. So, I'm standing there with a piece of poop in my hand, half the crew is there, chewing on chicken wheels and staring at me and my bundle of joy. That was the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever had to endure. Experience 8. 7th grade Spanish test. It's all quiet in the room. I'm a long-haired, greasy, socially awkward geek. I feel a sneeze coming on but decide to hold it back to not draw attention to myself. I try but cannot contain the sneeze inside. It takes the path of least resistance out of my body, my completely stuffed up nose. The sound is incredible. The snot tent is an amazing fully formed spider web of snot between my desk and my face. The classroom turns to look at me and sits in stunned silence. After about 10 seconds, the girl in front of me, the hottest 7th grader in school, says loudly, "That's gross." Everyone laughs. I try to disappear. Experience 9. Posted this the other day. A couple of seniors from my high school were pulling into the parking lot before school in a beater F-150. It was a nice Friday morning and they had come up with the silly plan to do a drive-by mooning of some popular girls. No doubt to impress, they had done this before, so they had a rehearsed plan. As they proceeded to pull closer to the girls, the driver honks his horn as the passenger drops his pants and sticks his ass all the way out the window. The passenger felt a nice fart welling up inside at this time, so he decided it would be extra funny to turn this into a drive-by gassing. He executed with precision timing. Here is where it all goes wrong. The previous day was senior ditch day and he spent much of the previous day consuming copious amounts of alcohol, apparently passing out several times. So, when he let her rip, it was not a bubble of gas he was released, as a torrent of bile and fecal matter, in the form of a geyser. From 5 feet away at eye level, he had unleashed 24 pko poop and hosed the girls. While the first escaped with little damage, the 2 other girls had taken direct hits. Vomit, screaming, and crying were produced by many spectators. Experience 10. I have 2, both similar. I have been caught jerking off by my mother twice. Both times were catastrophically embarrassing for me. The first time was nothing unusual. In my bedroom, she knocked and then walked in not a second after. What the hell's the point of knocking? I was naked but was able to cover up quickly, but she still knew and walked out. I was 17 and I had older cousins, so she asked my aunt about what to do. She explained what she did with her 2 older boys when she caught them. This was of course my gossipier aunt, and proceeded to converse with her other sisters and brothers that my mother had come to her with this advice. Fast forward a couple of weeks to a family birthday party. I feel everyone's eyes staring at me, their glares penetrating my skin. My older cousin Allison comes up to me and strikes conversation. Eventually asks me,
"So how did she catch you?"
I said.
Excuse me? S.
He replied.
"Your mom caught your jerking off, didn't she?"
I suddenly was so overcome with embarrassment that I began to sweat profusely and vomit. Vomit lots and lots. Like I said, unfortunately there were 2 times. The second time was a little worse. Our computer is in the living room. I was too poor for a laptop, so I was sitting in the spinny computer chair naked, clothes not even in the room with me. I had gotten home from class a little early and figured I had a few hours before my mom came home from work. I was horribly mistaken. Unfortunately, she had been sick and decided to leave early. I heard keys on the other side of the front door, and I panicked. So, I turned the speakers and the monitor off as fast as I could but stayed seated. When she entered, she saw her son sitting quietly at a blank computer screen, but as naked with an erection. Luckily, I don't believe she saw that part of me, seeing as I stayed facing the opposite direction of her, but still terrifyingly awkward. We avoided speaking and eye contact for about 2 weeks.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.